Hello, and thank you so much for taking the time to actually watch my video. This video is going to be all about my life and how I have really struggled with obsessive compulsive disorder. I'm going to talk about really from when I had it from an obviously early age of about 9, 10 years old, really until present day. Um, I'm going to just talk very briefly about what OCD is. Obviously, you've clicked on it, you might have it, you might be wanting to find out more about it. But basically, OCD stands for obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, for a lot of people, when they think about OCD, they think of people not being able to switch a gas off or keeping things in the right order. These sorts of things, which are OCD, but for me, for me, they are not the main things that concern me with my OCD anyway. I say that they used to be when I was young. I did used to have the compulsions of hand washing and these sort of things. But for me, OCD is so much more. You need to understand that, it's obsessive. Whatever it is you're thinking about. In my case, I worry about loads of different things, and I basically obsess about this thing happening. But then I also have to do sometimes a compulsion. Usually, it's seeking reassurance to obviously try and alleviate my fear. But it doesn't work. I don't know why I still do it, but I can honestly say it doesn't work. Um, so when I actually see people talk about, sometimes you hear people say, "Oh, he's very OCD," and like they're actually on about, checking and obviously doing these what I call these introduction kind of things that people generally start doing when they first start developing OCD. These to me can obviously can appear quite minor. My OCD has manifested much greater, and I'm going to talk about obviously what I've gone through and what I'm still going through now. Um, my OCD really started when I was young. I can't recall exactly my age, but I'd recently started. I remember starting secondary school, and my main thing that used to come out then was I used to sometimes go home lunchtime. I used to go home lunchtime, which obviously meant opening the door, and that was how it started. I used to, when I used to have to close the door, I couldn't close that door without checking it and rechecking it and rechecking it. This was the start of me developing OCD. Yeah, it also was for me turning gases off. That was a major, anything electrical like turning the gases off, turning the toaster off, anything like that was a problem for me. Turning off a stereo, that wasn't a problem, but anything where there was like a kettle or something like that, that for me was pain. It was fear, and I used to. Well, in the end, it got so severe in the end that I stopped going home. I actually stopped going home lunchtime because it was easier for me to go down the chip shop and get something to eat from the chip shop and stay at school than actually go home. So that was like, even at an early age, it was controlling me. It was making me alter my life from a very early age. My OCD gradually then progressed. I still had this fear of obviously gas, electric, closing doors. But as I went through, as I got older, my other compulsions which I started having was washing my hands, and I don't know where that come from. I don't know why I started doing it, but all of a sudden, washing my hands and drying my hands, it become a big thing. I used to get the soap and go all up my arms. It got to the stage where it was taking me like 10 minutes to actually wash my hands. So that was something else which started. But there wasn't no real reason. I can't look back on my life and think of any catastrophic event or anything that really happened in my childhood or even throughout my life really. Um, yeah, up until the age of about 20, which really made me become this person. It is just something, for whatever reason. I don't know whether it's hereditary. I think it is. My mum's mum was always worrying and always, doing things. Um, and that's where I think I got it from. So I do believe it's hereditary. But I also believe that some of it's learnt as well. Obviously, if you're around people that are like this, if you're around people that are worrying and, and checking, it's learnt. It's partly learnt behaviour as well. Now, for me, all those things which were bothering me um, up to the age of probably about 24, 25 years old were manageable. They was things that used to bug me, things that used to take me time, things that used to cause me stress. But for me, they were manageable. It was a manageable level, if you like, of OCD. What really changed me, what really I think was the icing on the cake, if you like, the thing that sent me over the edge, was when my daughter was born. Now, when my daughter was born, the ball game changed. For me, I wasn't just worrying about me and obviously me making mistakes. I was also worrying about, my daughter took a whole new turn, in the sense that I used to check her, check her breathing. I bought a monitor, that checked her, if her chest didn't rise, it went off and it was making the alarms go off, and all these different things. And this was my level of fear, if you like, over my daughter obviously being okay. It was obviously the greatest thing that ever happened to me in my life, having obviously a child. But this obviously rose, it made my obviously my anxiety rise, because that's what OCD is. It's increased with anxiety and obviously fear, and it all manifests itself in this way. Um, what really made me what really upset me, and made me feel really bad, which led me literally to a really terrible bout of depression, was when, out of the blue, I started having intrusive thoughts, that I was going to hurt my daughter. Yeah, and that for me really was the main thing which sent me almost into a spiral. Yeah, for about 2 weeks I was in a right pickle with it. I was having these thoughts coming in that, my daughter was going to get hurt. I was actually going to, hurt her, and, all. It's what you don't want to think, basically. If I don't obviously know what your knowledge is of OCD, but for me, I always worry about the things that I don't want to happen the most. Yeah. So for that, it was obviously harm coming to my daughter. So my mind was telling me that I wanted to hurt my daughter, which I knew from having OCD. I knew what I was doing. That was the crazy thing. I knew it was OCD. I knew it was an obsession. I knew it was an intrusive thought. And I knew, out of everything else on the planet, I knew I did not want to think this. I love my daughter, and I've got a son now as well. I love them to bits. So for me, that was the cherry on the cake. That was what sent me into a major spiral. And really, even though I don't obsess about that now, I still obsess about um, gases, electricity, like these sort of things, to a lesser degree. But they are made worse if my children are in the house. I say children. My daughter's 22 now. My boy's 17 at the time of making this video. So they're not children, but they're my children. For me, they're my children, and I'm responsible for them. And if I go out the door and I know I've got to lock that door, I need to know it's locked. And the boiler, checking the boilers off. If I know my son's upstairs, that becomes an issue. But I would say to a lesser degree than what my other OCD fears are. Yeah, I've had fears about my relationship, that everything's going to go wrong, and that, things are going to crash, and that, my life's going to not be how I want it to be. And that is the trouble with my OCD. I'm fearing um, catastrophic events. Yeah, this is what OCD is. I'm manifesting the worst situation and believing it's going to happen. Yeah, and it don't matter how educated you are. It don't matter how much you know about OCD. This is what frustrates me. I'm kind of like I'm an educated guy. I've done a lot of studying. I'm not an idiot. I'd say I'm above average intelligence, and I know all there is to know about depression and OCD. But you know what? When that thought strikes, when that intrusion comes in my mind, I can't accept that it's intrusion. I believe it to be true, and this is what hurts me so much. Yeah, and I honestly don't know what the cure is. I kind of know what makes me better, what actually makes me better, and what makes me fear less is when something else happens, which actually is a real event. Yeah, for me, I can look back at times in my life when things have happened in my life, when I've had these fears, these worries, these intrusions, and then something else comes in my life there's a real worry, a real concern, and that takes over my OCD. Yeah, but unfortunately, OCD doesn't. You've not always got something catastrophic and real happening in your life. Most of the time, you're just going through life and you're dealing with everyday, I wouldn't say mediocre, but you're living a normal life. And perhaps it might not be the most exciting life. And because of that, for me, my enemy is time. Yeah, it's time. Time is my bugaboo, if you like. It's something which I cannot allow. I cannot allow myself the luxury of idle time. This was made clear to me many years ago. I was about 20 and I was going through a bad stage of obviously my OCD. And I was going to see a lady, a counsellor. It was on the NHS. She was a nice lady, and I can actually recall her sitting there and saying to me, you cannot afford to let your mind wander. You cannot afford to let your mind drift." And I said to her, "Well, what does that mean then?" I said, "Does that mean I can't sit and not sit and do nothing, but does that mean I can't just like almost sit in a room?" And she said, "You don't want to be sitting in a room with nothing going on." She said, "You want to put the radio on. You want to have the telly on. You don't want to be just sat in that room." And this is my advice. If you've got OCD and it's extreme, like I've got it, you might be looking at me now and thinking, well, he looks okay. I have got a very bad um, 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 OCD intrusion going on with me at the minute, and it's making me feel depressed. It's making me feel run down. It's making me worry. It's making me ruminate about it even more. And I honestly don't know at the moment how to get out of it. Um, what I am trying to do is keep myself busy. That was partly why I started doing YouTube, because I actually like doing YouTube. I love watching YouTube videos, and I thought what a great thing it would be do, especially to talk about things that I think I'm knowledgeable on, and OCD is one of them. So, I hope you listen to this story. It's made you. I mean, that's obviously what my life's been about. In a sense, dealing with these problems. But when I say problems, they're actually not problems. They're almost, they're self-made problems. And I've had times in my life when people close to me have made light of my condition, if you like, whatever you want to call it. And it really gets me down, because if they've understood for a second, they wouldn't say such stupid things. Yeah, they really wouldn't. When they say, I've had people close to me, very close to me, say to me, "You've got to snap out of it," and I felt like grabbing hold of them and smashing their head against a brick wall, because I just think, how can you say that? How can you be so ignorant? How can you be so stupid to think that you wouldn't do that if you could? it's absolutely, for me, it's absolutely farcical. You know how these people think, and obviously I don't know whether you're watching this because you've got OCD, whether it's because you're living with someone who's got OCD, whether you think your partner might have OCD, whatever it is. But I'm telling you, if you're the person that perhaps hasn't got it, um, um, you really do need to understand what your partner or your family member is going through, because it's something which they can't control. Yeah, it don't matter how clever they are. You know what I mean? It really don't matter how clever they are, right? This has no bearing. In fact, the lady who I used to see, she said to me that people with OCD have normally got an above average level of intelligence. Their mind is always busy, yeah, or they're always looking. I say their mind's always busy. Their mind's not always busy, but their mind needs to be busy, because this is what happens when your mind's not busy. For me, my mind starts ruminating. Yeah, at the end of making this video, I'm going to go straight out to my kitchen. I'm going to make a cup of tea, and I'm going to put on I'm watching this program on Netflix. It's a good program, and I know when I'm watching that program, it's taking me out of myself. But unfortunately, I still know, that thought's going to be there tomorrow. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And again, I've watched videos on this, how to try and break out of it, how to try and accept that what you're thinking is not real. Unfortunately, it don't always work. Yeah, I think the cure, if there is a cure, and I'm not saying there is, I would seriously, if you've got a bad spate of I say OCD or depression, anxiety, it's all linked. Yeah, it might be that your anxiety is firing off your OCD, or your OCD is, like in my case at the moment, it's making me worry, and it's making me feel depressed, and it's making me feel run down. It's all like a circle. Well, these things that you're going through, yeah, they they are real in the sense that obviously they're real in your mind, yeah. But the worries, the fears, the things that you think are going to happen, you probably know, you might have researched OCD like me. You might know that they're not real, but they're real to you. But the only way for me to actually get away from this, to actually try and take some rest, if you like, is distraction. Yeah, if someone said to me, what can you do to make yourself feel better? I would say, do what I'm doing now. I'm making this video. It's distracting me, right? Even though I'm talking about it, it's still distracting me from how I'm feeling. Yeah, and that's why I'm doing it. Yeah, distraction, hobbies, sports, swimming, walking outside, all these sort of things. They're not going to make it go just like that, but they are going to help. I've started going for walks now. Like longer walks to try and make myself feel better. Medication, yeah. For me, to not be on medication, when people, antidepressants, SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, whatever they are, they're all to do with making your mind work better. Yeah, your serotonin, your dopamine, whatever the levels in your brain, this chemical is something you need. Just like a man needs testosterone and a woman needs estrogen and progesterone for obviously her body. These are things in our body which our body needs, and if they're deficient, yeah, then they are going to make you feel worse. If you're depressed like I am at the minute, they're going to make you feel worse. Yeah, I was looking earlier. I know it, but I'm still looking, searching. They talk about omega-3s, omega-6 fish oils. They're a must. Vitamin D, they're a must if you've got depression, any sort of mental illness, because they help with your body's ability to produce. I don't actually know how they work, but I know that these things are good for you. Yeah. So medication's a must. You've got to go and see your GP. Moderate exercise. Don't wear yourself out. I've started doing this, going for walks, and I was going to join a gym. But I said to my wife the other day, I said, I feel, when I'm worrying about it and I'm having this thing and I'm getting myself going, I said to her, I feel absolutely drained. I said, it's like someone's reached in and taken my batteries out. So I'm thinking, do I really want to go to a gym and start lifting weights if I feel so shattered? You know what I mean? But I think moderate exercise, keeping yourself busy, talking to people, sharing your problems, being around people that you love, laughter, all these things make me feel better. I was watching Michael McIntyre the other night, and I did. I was watching him on Netflix, and for the 40 minutes, hour that I was watching him, all my problems were gone. Yeah, it's not until I'm given that time to actually start it up again. Yeah, you start scratching that problem, and before you know it, it's halfway up your arm, and that's exactly how OCD. If you've got OCD, you know. But what you might not know is what I try and do to make myself better. I try not to sit about. I still do. I've had today. I've come in from work and I ain't been feeling that great, and I ain't gonna lie. I did. I sat down and I felt shattered. I think with the sun, it's been really hot in a minute. I felt worn out. You know what I mean? So it is hard. It is really hard. But we need to try and believe in ourselves. Believe that we can get better. It's our mind. My wife says to me, "I wish I had £1 for every time my wife had said to me, Colin, you know what it is? It's just your mind playing tricks. Your mind playing tricks on you." And I always think in the back of my mind, it's easy for you to say. I know she don't mean it because obviously I've been married for over 20 years and she knows me. And she said, "You've had good times." She said, "You're going through a dip at the minute. I'm on a low at the minute. I really am." But she said, "You've come out of it before." She said, "And you'll come out of it again." I watched a video earlier about a guy. He talks about try and think of it as if it's a cloud passing over your head. It's come, but it ain't gonna stay. It will go, yeah. But if you're struggling like I am at the minute, do what I've done. I went to my GP the other day. He's looked at my medication. He's put me on sertraline. I'm trying to do more indoors. I'm keeping myself busy on YouTube. I'm just trying to keep myself busy generally. Work. I've done other videos on YouTube about marketing. I'm just trying to keep myself in the zone, if you like. But it is hard. And if you've got depression, especially if like me now, you've got I've got quite a high level of depression at the minute. I said to my wife earlier, I don't feel like I'm ever going to come out of it. And she said, "You've done it before. You've been like this before, Cole." She said, "You ain't going to be like it forever. Something will happen, and all of a sudden it'll pass." Yeah. So keep yourself busy. Think about getting better. Tell yourself you're going to get better and that you ain't going to be this person. Yeah. Look into personal development. Don't do your brain in with it like I did when I first started doing it, watching loads and loads of things. Start trying to do some of the things which you hear in these videos. If you like fishing, go fishing. If you like swimming, go swimming. Even if you don't feel like going, make yourself go. Because it will, all these things, being outside, the sun, everything, it's all increasing our um, our chemicals in our brain. It's all giving us the feel good factor, which obviously is the total opposite of feeling depressed. So you've got to put work into it. I think that's what's hard, like me now. When you're feeling low, it's hard to give yourself the motivation to do it, but you've got to, what's the alternative? You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking it earlier. What's the alternative? The alternative is to obviously have a major breakdown. And it does happen. I had one years ago. I actually had a full-blown breakdown years ago. It does happen, and you do come out of it. But look for the signs. Yeah, look for the signs. Medication. Think about your medication. Try and do a bit of moderate exercise. Keep yourself busy. Take interest in what other people have got to say. That's what I do with YouTube. I care about not just yourself, but try and think about your family. Care about other people. Because I honestly believe that if you can create this positive mindset, you will become not only a healthier person, you'll become a better person. And that's what I try and do. That's what my channel's all about. It's all about trying to make me feel better. Because I'm not going to lie, I'm the priority. Because obviously it's my body, it's my mind, and I care about how I'm feeling. But I also do genuinely care about other people. And I think that if you're that way, you're better to be that way than be the person that don't care. Yeah, I think that people who don't care about other people, I think that has a negative effect on them, and I think that comes back on you. I'm not going to go on. I've digressed a little bit, please like my video. I'd really appreciate it. If you have watched it to the end, it's been 25 minutes. It probably feels like a little bit longer, but I really generally appreciate it. And if you have got OCD, I really hope you try and do some of the things that I've mentioned in this video to try and obviously make yourself feel better. It's your life. You need to take action. Please like, please subscribe, please leave a comment. I love it when people leave comments, if they're constructive comments, and I really appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up. And if you know anybody who's struggling with OCD or depression, tell them to get help. Yeah, if it's a family member, tell them they haven't got to worry, that they're not weak, or they're not inferior because they've got this. This is something that's affecting. I was watching a video earlier. Depression is a depression, not so much OCD, but depression. They reckon it's affecting it's almost affecting 50–60% of the population. Yeah, at some time in their life they're going to experience this. So it's important that we know how to deal with it. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Like I say, I really do appreciate your view. Please subscribe, please like, and give us a thumbs up. Thank you so much. And I hope you, if you are an OCD sufferer like me, I do hope you get better soon. Thank you.